Hey there, everybody. So sorry I'm late. My wife and I went out shopping this nice, wonderful day, and we got back a little bit late. I'm sorry about that. Um, so I appreciate your folks' patience. That's very kind. And I do have to admit, I cheated a little bit on this braid with you guys. I was on Nick Ricada's call-in stream on his locals Thursday night. So I was able to I did a little bit of braid, not much, while I was waiting there and while I was on stream with him. So that was nice. So, alrighty. So what I was out shopping for is I need to make a sign for some gaming tents at the event I'm going to in late July, early August, which is Pennsic War. And they have a medieval games tent, and they have a modern gaming tent for people who would like some side distractions and whatnot. So they need new signs, and I have a nice CNC router, so I'm going to do that for them. But I need to get the wood for it and get started on it, or else I'm not going to have it done in time. So I went out to get that. Also to get the wood for the warping frame I need to make so I can warp up Rob's braid much quicker than before. And we also picked up some pepper plants, cucumber, and I think that was mostly a couple different varieties of peppers. And then we stopped off at the grocery store so my wife wouldn't have to go shopping. And we left like 2 hours before I need to go on stream. I figured, oh, that'll be fine. But apparently we are slow shopping people. But it was a nice day. It was sunny, not too overly hot, not too overly humid. So it's nice to spend time with my wife. Because if I didn't, probably did not pick the right person to marry. But when I have an errand or whatnot, she likes coming with me. So we get to spend some time and to talk outside the house. So, let's see, did I? No, that's good. Okay. Just making sure I didn't miscount something here. And also managed to pick up another project for that event. This is going to be a really big year for them. They tend to run about 10 to 12,000 people, or 10 to 11,000 people on an average year. And on the 5, 10 year anniversaries, it jumps up to like 12 or 13. And for the big ones, like 25 and 50, it's going to be pretty big. And this is the 50th year anniversary event. So they used to have like a whiteboard or a tally board where they would keep a running total of who was there so people would know when they came in and they could walk by and see how many people were on site. But they haven't been doing that for like the last 4 or 5 years or so. So the person who's in charge of that area was discussing options to do. And one of the things somebody suggested was a kind of like some roller wheels with numbers 0 to 9 on them. And then you could 5 digits, you could have them together on a sign or whatever with a cutout for them and roll them up to whatever the current count is. Because they can get since we use computers for check-in, it's really easy to get the current registration count for people who've checked in. And then they can just adjust them as needed several times through the day or like once an hour, whatever. But I found a nice 3D printed design for a counter like that. And so I'm doing test prints of some of the parts so that the person in charge can see how big they are, if they want them larger or smaller, and then what colors they want. Then I'll go ahead and print out the whole thing, make up the sign, and it'll be ready to go. It should only take like about 4 or 5 days to print the whole thing. Depending on the job, being bored at work is much, much better than being excited, having it be an exciting day, especially if you work in like an ER or the like. Okay, Yeah. Just making sure I don't get too distracted in my counting here while I'm talking and do the wrong move, because that results in back braiding or unbraiding. And 1, 2, 3 over 4 under 3. But between popping on Nick Ricada's call-in stream on his locals and them Rob and Ian giving me a shout out on Friday Night Frenzy, I've picked up another 20 or so subscribers since then. So getting closer and closer to that 1,000 mark. And as I mentioned on Nick's show that I'm starting to get close enough I can taste it. But I'm also trying not to be too pushy or obnoxious about it. Just do the normal level of grift. And keep wanting to reach over the mouse to advance the program to the next screen. And it's like, I don't have that on this braid. So, all right, let's do a coma slide. Yeah, falling asleep at work is also not a good idea. And I have done that more than one occasion. Fortunately, usually not for more than a few seconds, which is one of the reasons why I am currently taking the medications I am, so that I don't do things like that in the future. So anyway, I've got the wood, and I'm ready to either tonight or probably not tonight, but tomorrow I'll go ahead and like cut it to length that I need, and then go ahead and start getting ready to plane it down to the thickness I need, get some of the designs programmed. I haven't got as much as I wanted to this weekend at this point, but I have definitely made progress. Had to something is wrong here. Okay, that one jumped a pin. There we go. That looks right. Had to do some constable business first thing when I got up this morning. That took up some time. But overall, it's been a nice day and not too horrible getting stuff done. So if I can just keep pecking away at it a little bit at a time, I'll eventually get there. It's when I look at it as like, this is a big job and you get the executive paralysis. It's like, if I don't do it right, I'm going to screw it up. And it just takes longer and longer to start. And then you have less and less time to do it. Eventually get to the point where it's like, I got to start it. I'm never going to get it done. And then you got to like rush through it. And I don't like doing that. So I'm trying to train myself to not do things like that. Making lists and the like. It also helps that most of the projects I'm trying to work on are actually fun for me. So one of the reasons why I'm trying to do so much with the braiding, because it's a chance to do something productive and fun at the same time. So, right, okay, so top one next. Yeah, I managed to screw up where I was in the braid while I was on Nick's stream. And since I was only going to be on for like about 4 or 5 minutes, I just went ahead and stopped braiding when I realized I was at a point I wasn't sure where I was at. Basically, I had just done this side, and I should have gone here, and I started doing this again. It's like they're not going the way they're supposed to, so at least I knew enough to stop and not keep going. It also helps that if you're doing it wrong, it really looks wrong on this particular braid. You can't get the sword to get all the way up to the cross piece there because they're binding in the wrong direction. And so I'm probably going to be on, probably going to be on tonight, maybe an hour to an hour and a half. One of the things we picked up at the grocery store, which is Aldi, is chipotle salmon patties. And that just kind of struck me as something that would be rather tasty. When we were at the hardware store that has a gardening area, we went ahead and picked up a couple varieties of peppers. Nothing overly hot, but stuff that hopefully will be able to get added into a bunch of food dishes over the summer. Got a Cubanelle, an orange something or other, like 3 of the purple bell peppers, and one other semi-spicy one, if I remember right. I keep trying to grab the mouse so I can advance the program. I got to stop doing that. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, under 3, over 4. I'm going to try and, if I can, also this weekend, post a bunch of short or shorter videos. And get those posted so that I can take advantage of all the nice new people who have subscribed, and let YouTube think that my channel is growing, and maybe get some better distribution on those. Shorts are a little frustrating for me because there's not a lot of content you can include in it when you're doing stuff like the 3D printing, unless it's like a short time lapse, and you're limited to about a minute for the shorts, though apparently I've had people complain when I have time lapses running longer than 20 seconds. So, but I'm sure that will also depend on how complex and large the braid is. Next stream I do, I'll make sure to bring some of the parts I printed so you guys can see them. All right. That's what's been bugging me. It's time to roll this up. There we go. The angle was getting a little off. All right, so 3 on here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. No, it turns out it's a little warmer up here than I was expecting. I might have to bump the fan up another speed level. So anything interesting happening with you folks other than being stuck at a boring shift at work? For those that watch Rob and the Purple Heart wood stuff he's been doing recently, my experience with Purple Heart is that if the purple is too pale, you can actually bring out more purple by warming the wood up. I've actually baked at like about, I think, 150 degrees some Purple Heart that was rather on the pale side to get a darker purple color. Though the downside with that is if you're not careful and the color gets oxidized, it turns brown. So that's one of the reasons why the heart of the is more purple than the outside. I think is because of the oxidate. Yep, I am not doing that right. So if you want it to maintain purple and not turn more brownish over time, it's really good to keep some sort of airtight finish on it. Also, it's sensitive to UV, so UV blocking finishes are good for them as well. If you do something like a nice oil finish or whatnot, it will tend to brown over time. So. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Keep thinking ahead on stuff and lose track of where I am. Fortunately, this pattern not being overly complex in how it's braided together, it's relatively easy to look at it and figure out where you are in the process. Because each 4-move cycle gets your to the same position on these blocks here. I can't really see that, but where the back end of it is at the same spot on the, okay, yeah, a little bit there. So I can look right and left, and if they're the same, then I know I've completed the steps all the way through. If they're off, that lets me know where I'm at. Also helps that the color is has mirror symmetry. So if the color looks off one side to the other, I know there's a mistake there. And I can also look on the back end, see where I'm at to where it's gone. Okay, so yeah, from the top here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. After some time braiding with them, you kind of start picking up those things, get a better understanding of how the braid structure works. Though if you don't do it long term and you go back to it, it takes a while to relearn some of that stuff. But at least it comes back faster the second time around. You made the breakthrough at least once. Have to say that sounds tasty. Though if they're very spicy, they would definitely be exciting. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, there we go. I'm good for that. And 1, 2, 3 under 3 over 4. So, but yeah, I've got a list of stuff that I have on my main desktop computer that I try and keep adding to and checking off as I can. So, I also have been playing a game that is having a event going on for the past several days. They do these about every couple of weeks. They have like events at least once a week. But this particular one, you have to do something every 8 hours to get the maximum benefit. So if you're careful in timing, you can get it done and then have about 16 hours, just under 16 hours till the next time you need to do something in it. It's one of those games that tries to like drain your pocketbook with all the, you can do just a little teeny bit better if you spend this whole large amount of money. But one of the challenges I have with myself for the game is to not spend any money on it. And you can actually play, succeed, and do really well at it, especially if you are like me and started from the very beginning of the game. And go through it nope, I have lost track somewhere. That does not look right. Okay, so, all right, so I just did 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I did the bottom when I should have done the top. Unless I missed one here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. 3 and 6. Nope, that looks right there. I need to do the top one here. All right. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got one extra white here relative to here. The bottom matches up front and back. So this is the last move I need to make before I restart. Let's try it the proper way. 1, 2, 3, under 4, over 4, under 3. But yeah, one of the challenges of the game is to try and do it without spending any money. And since a few years back on one of the phone-based Final Fantasy games that is like that, where I spent way too much money, it lets me play games like that where my specific goal is to play a game I like where I don't spend any money, and this one is not challenging enough one where you really get tempted to do it and you have to pay to win. It is a you can pay playing, but it's not required to pay to win. So that's one of the reasons I like it. It satisfies that itch, and I don't have to spend the money. I don't have the urge to spend the money. It's kind of like a the heck with you guys. I'm going to play this and win by not spending any money on it. I realize that's kind of flirting dangerously with the concept there, but like I said, I like the game and it's fun to play. But there are some time-specific things you have to do if you're going to keep up. Hopefully you have a safe trip home, Jen. Yeah, jalapeno is not that spicy, though I have had some jalapeno flavored stuff that's been pretty spicy. I don't know if it's just that they don't process it down as much for general consumption, like some of the ghost pepper stuff that gets. Let's see. Some of the ghost pepper stuff that gets sold to people, like the chips and the Burger King burgers and whatnot, where some of that stuff is decently hot, but I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near as hot as if they'd actually put a significant amount of that particular pepper in it. My only issue with jalapeno is I don't really care for the particular flavor that much. I mean, it's not bad, but one of the reasons I like spicy stuff is I like the flavor they put into it. And usually there's like some vinegar or something in it to give it a little extra tang that I like. But the jalapenos tend to be, I guess close I'd say is the actual flavor is a little on the bland side, which is one of the reasons why I've been asking my wife over the last 15 years to work on building my heat tolerance so I can enjoy the flavors I like without it being overly uncomfortable for me. But yeah, there's some hot stuff that I have definitely found to be warm, but most of the stuff is not overwhelming for me. I probably should try some of the stuff that's actually really rated hot just to see how well I do with it. And I am aware that with a lot of them, you just kind of let the sensation pass over time. And that's made it a lot easier for me once I realized that, yeah, that's the case. You're not actually doing any damage to your mouth. And you just let the heat fade over time. And I know with some of the heavier stuff, you can actually do some damage. So that's one of the reasons I've been a little hesitant to try the hotter stuff. We did have 4 on for a while. It looks like we dropped back down to 3. Probably some new people just stopping in to take a look. So if anybody does stop in, they haven't been in before, please feel free to chat. We're pretty friendly here. At least I think so. And as a friend of mine used to joke, after all, it's all about me. 1, 2, 3. And it jumped pin there. All right, let's try it again. 1, 2, under 3, over 4, under 3. But I think I'm doing pretty good at getting these steps done without counting, though I do get distracted, but it's more because I'm talking about other stuff than not being able to do the move. I just kind of forget which move it is that I have next, which counting would not help with that. And 1, 2, 3, under 4, over 4, under 3. And one of the nice things about being on Nick's stream the other day. I got a chance to listen to my streaming sound setup relative to some other people's, and I think I actually placed fairly decently in the mix as far as I think I had maybe the second best sound, and I don't have an overly expensive microphone. It was like under $100, so, and it's actually about 3.5 feet away from my mouth at this particular point. So the fact that most people seem to be able to hear okay, I think is a pretty good testament to having gotten a decent equipment and setting it up. Though I wouldn't be surprised if some of that's due to StreamYard's balancing, but since I don't really go on other people's streams a lot, I don't really get it screwing up trying to mix me with other people most of the time. But I'll have to keep an eye out for that. If people say that I have sound issues, pay attention. There we go. Sorry to hear that, Gwendolyn. Yeah, I know that if you don't keep it up or if you have other issues pop up, you can't always keep the heat tolerance. So you have my sympathies. I'm sure that'll eventually happen to me as well. I just won't be eating it, or my digestion will get to the point where I just can't handle it, but I'm enjoying it while I can. And nope, that was not the right move. Right. Yeah, I was trying to do the same move twice. 1, 2, 3, under 4, over 4, under 3. There we go. As I'm getting closer to 1,000 subscribers, I also need to work and get my total watch hours up for the last year. I'm running about just under 1,700 watch hours for the year, and I need about 4,000 to get monetized. And I realize as I get more people on, that'll help with that, because more people watching for longer periods of, no, not necessarily longer, but more people watching, even if it's the same amount of time, should help with that. And live streaming helps, doing the longer streams, especially when people enjoy hanging around for the whole stream. Helps a lot with that too. I am sorry to hear about that, Gwendolyn. I hope that it resolves and you're able to enjoy hot food again in the future. And if you're not, that whatever you wind up eating, that you enjoy the flavor and have fun with it. Some of the other flavors I enjoy tend to be vinegar and salt related stuff. I don't actually eat a lot of salt these days. My wife, who does most of the cooking, is on a fairly strict diet herself, and our roommate can't handle a lot of salt. So I tend to get stuff like garlic instead to accentuate the flavoring, which is perfectly fine with me. I love garlic. I like vinegar. I like salt and vinegar kettle-style chips, which are probably nowhere near good for my waistline. And I can't have more than like a small bag without my mouth feeling like I've been chewing on razors. Not because of an allergy or anything like that. It's just the pH concentration, the fact that the chips kind of chew up the inside of my mouth, given they're a little more substantial and harder than your standard potato chips in a bag. All right, so just the top one left on this side. A little music anecdote about garlic. Garlic is supposed to be a blood thinner. And when I had surgery about I think it's 8 years ago now when they took out my gallbladder. The doctor was telling me, make sure to stop taking any aspirin if you're doing it because of they don't want excess bleeding in the surgery if they can avoid it. And I said, okay, and I'll stop eating garlic too. And the doctor said, no, I don't think anybody can really eat enough garlic that it's going to be a problem. And I said, you sure? And he said, yep. So I let my wife know, and we just kept on my regular garlic intake. And after the surgery, the doctor did let me know that I guess I was mistaken about the garlic. So if I have surgery in the future, I will definitely stop my garlic consumption about a couple weeks ahead of time. I don't want to make it any worse or more difficult for somebody who's, got their hands on my insides. I think that's a bad thing. At least I'm going to operate on the assumption it's a bad thing. Oh, speaking of salty stuff, when we were on our trip last weekend, my wife ordered some what they called Cajun rub wings, and the restaurant in general was pretty good, but it was kind of amusing because okay, so just did the bottom there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because the Cajun rub they had on it tasted exactly like Lowry's seasonal or seasoned salt, stuff I grew up with as a kid. And I mean, it's not bad, but I wouldn't call it a Cajun rub. And it's definitely very salty. My wife had to break up the meal over like 3 or 4 different snackings the next day to be able to eat all of it. It was just that salty. Hey, Kathleen, nice to see you on. Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you again. Since the last stream I did, I've actually got another 20 new subscribers. Rob and Ian were kind enough to shout out my channel on Friday Night Frenzy, so we may have some new people on. All right. 1, 2, 3. So we've been discussing food and shop projects and the like. And I was a bit late getting started because my wife and I went shopping for wood for the projects and some pepper plants for the garden and a little bit of groceries on the way back. And as we're just about pulling up home, I looked at my watch and it said 7 minutes after my start time. And it's like, whoops. So my wife was very nice and brought in the groceries herself, which was very kind of her. We did not intend to be out that long. We left about 2 hours before the start of the stream. We were going like less than 1.5 miles away to the store, maybe 2 miles. We thought we were fairly quick at the places, but apparently it ran us about 2 hours. Yep, we got about, looks like it says 4 people on the stream right now. So just about everybody. I don't know if it counts me or not on the Rumble side, but just about everybody who's on here is chatting. Let me take a quick check at Rumble, see if anybody's chatting over there. Still have yet to see anybody chat on Rumble. All right. Speaking of Rumble, they have apparently enabled paid Rumble rants on their app. Unfortunately, because it goes to the App Store, Google takes like a 30% cut of everything there. And I think Rumble takes 20%. So it's been kind of like YouTube Super Chats on an iPhone, where pretty much just about half of it gets taken up by fees before it gets to the content creator. All right. We're at the starting point. But I'm hoping that in the next week or two, I'll have the warping stand set up for the next braid, and we'll get that braid set up much faster than normal, so there's not as much downtime between braids. I'm looking forward to working on Rob's braid. Next one I've tentatively scheduled after that is for Robert Barnes, though from when I made the offer and how he responded, he sounds like he's looking forward to it, but I don't think I'm going to get enough input easily as to come up with a design he'd like. And I'd have to probably listen to his streams a little more often, see if I can't come up with some of the things I think he might like. I'll have to see how that goes. People I want to do braids for after that. I want to do one for Larry Correa, but he's been kind of busy lately, and I haven't been able to get through to ask him what he would like as a braid. I was thinking maybe I could do that when he's on Nick's show again, which is supposed to be coming up sometime in the not too distant future. And I also want to do one for Rodrick. I think his eyeglasses logo would be fun to do. So I already ordered the silk for that, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him either because he's fairly busy and doing a lot of his stuff. But eventually I might be able to get through to him with Nick helping, but I don't want to presume on him because I know Nick's busy too. There we go. We'll just have to see how it goes. And then after that, I'm still open on who I'm going to do it for. My criteria tends to be it's somebody that I enjoy watching and respect, and is willing to have me do it for them. I'm not going to do a braid for somebody unless it's something that they think they would like. That just gets too frustrating. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 3. Sorry if I'm talking too quietly. Voice is getting a little bit rough. Hey, Bane, nice to see you on. I just noticed we were up to 5 people watching, so welcome to the stream. Let's see. It's about 10 to 6. I'm probably going to go for about another 40 minutes. All right. And good to start the next set of the pattern, or next iteration. So we've been talking about food and shop projects and the like. And apparently since a little over 24 hours, I've had about 20 more people join my channel, which is nice. It's getting me closer to that point, or hopefully eventually this will become self-sustaining. I doubt I'm going to be one of the big super chat channels, but people who have YouTube Premium, when they watch, that helps send money my way, and they don't have to do anything out of pocket specifically, which is nice. And I'll try and keep the ads to a minimum once that does happen. Because I know that gets annoying with YouTube. That's one of the reasons I actually wound up getting premium, was I just was really fed up with the ads and just got really annoying. Plus, finding out that just watching some of the creators I like would send some money their way. So I figured, hey, that's something I can do. And the more I watch, the more they get money. So, and I tend to listen to YouTube while I'm at work all the time. So I got a lot of watch hours on my own. All right, so I think we are ready for a coma slide. So far, the custom braids, I've only made 3 of them. One was for a close friend who wanted me to do a very specific braid for her. Specifically, she wanted it to say something in a way that people would not understand, but actually meant F off, because she has to work parking for a large event and she has to be polite, and she's not normally all that polite, especially to people who are rude to her. So this is her way of back talking to them without them knowing or getting her in trouble. So I did that as the first braid. The second braid I did was for Nick Ricada, and the third one was for Ian Runkle, which actually did get mailed off this morning. So so those are the 3 pickup braids I've done. Rob's will be the 4th. I have done other braids for people, where they like the design. But I did have a friend who wanted me to do something on the order like 15 or 18 different marudai braids. That just kind of, I didn't actually start them because it's like, I just don't have the time or the energy at that point in my life to do anything like that. And I didn't want to have to explain to them that I like them. I just don't like them enough that I'm willing to spend like, 500 or 600 hours for essentially for free, just for them. I did tell them I would teach them how to do it, but they had moved away to an area where I wasn't able to do it. So sometimes it's just hard to get across to people in a way that is not offensive to them, that I like you, but I just can't afford the time, the income loss, the opportunity cost as just a gift. Because even though the custom braids I'm doing are fairly expensive, I've been able to justify it as essentially an advertising expense for my quote-unquote YouTube business. Sorry, let me catch up with that. Let's see. I'm falling behind on the chat. Let's see. All right, so I think I answered that one. Yep, we got some peppers today. That's part of the reason I was late getting on. All right, just checking real quick here. Yep, I do like it, but having that as the only rub and calling it a Cajun rub just didn't quite match up with our expectations. Yep, that's pretty much why I did it as well, plus being able to support it. Okay. So if I understand this right, you're saying that the since you've used it so much, okay, got it. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, yep, makes sense. I got it. Thank you. Sorry for that. Oh, definitely. For something Cajun, I'm expecting at least a little bit of kick, if not necessarily peppers, just something that's spicy like a paprika, or just plain black pepper, or or things like that. But okay, all right. So yes, I have reached the end of this particular iteration of the pattern, and I'm ready for the next one. 1, 2, 3, 3 over 4. Those a little bit more. And one of the other nice things when I was on Nick's stream on his locals for the calling portion, I was able to talk to him a little bit about Philly and other things like that I'd hoped to talk to him about, and just was too busy and too crowded after the event there to really do that, and I wasn't able to make the quieter in-person non-event related meetup they had because I had to work the next morning and I was not used enough to Pro Vigil and I wasn't expecting it, so that was fun to do. I have to admit, I like Nick, so it's nice when I get a chance to talk to him. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. There we go. But he's been kind of my guru for what I need to learn and how I need to navigate the building up your channel streaming model, essentially. And the fact you have to pay attention and see how the things change as they go along and be able to float with the rules changes from YouTube and other platforms. Which is one of the reasons why I started deciding to do the Rumble side of things as well, even though I currently only have 13 subscriptions over there compared with, I think last I checked, 661 on YouTube, because eventually I want to be able to not have to worry about if I manage to run afoul of a YouTube rule change or whatever, or somebody decides they want to mass report my channel, that I don't lose all the work I've built up on it. Interestingly enough, I don't actually care too much for green beans and definitely don't like peas, but I do like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, artichokes, cauliflower. Admittedly, a lot of that's just brassica. I think that's how you pronounce it. All the different variations of broccoli / cauliflower. Though asparagus and artichokes don't fall in that. I tend to like a lot of vegetables. The ones I tend not to like are, like I said, green beans, peas, and some of the squashes. I'm actually okay with some squashes as long as they're not like mushy. When I was growing up, my mother would make baked squash and candied yams, and just the consistency and flavor were just not something I cared for. So I don't like I said, squash that is baked to where it's like a mushy consistency. But I try stuff more as I go on. Don't really care for eggplant. I like a lot of the root vegetables. I mean, obviously potatoes. Most people like that. But I don't really care for sweet potatoes, but I like carrots and parsnips and leeks, onions, garlic. Gonna have to mute here for a second and throw the sword on the floor. Be right back. There we go. My allergies were acting up just a little bit. You don't need to hear the moose call I do when I blow my nose. Okay. So I will have at least one stream tomorrow, maybe two, and at least a stream on Monday as well. I'm making really good progress on this braid, and do want to get started on Rob's relatively soon. So I'm going to keep trying to get some hours working on this. And like I said, I'm going to try and get some short videos posted, or shorter videos. I don't know if I'll get them as actual shorts. Trying to trick YouTube into thinking that I'm actually the super popular person and they need to show my videos to everybody so I get more subscribers. because I'm sure if they showed me to as many people as they do some of the other stuff, I would get tons of subscribers because, you know, I do really nice work, I think. And yes, you have to have some level of quote-unquote narcissism, or at least self-confidence, to be able to do this. When I was in my early 20s, I would have just frozen up doing this. Oh, speaking of freezing up and whatnot, there was a time I tried to do a video as a rebuttal to a Mythbusters episode. They had an episode where they were talking about, you know, somebody told them that they shouldn't use a hammer on hardened metal because the hammerhead gets hard over time and kind of mushrooms, and you can hit hard enough that it'll crack off a small piece that, you know, might chip or break and fly into your eye or something like that. So it's a safety consideration. And so they did an episode about that where they weren't able to do that. And it's like, no, that's not the way steel behaves. So I did a video where I took some hammers, used super quench on them, which is a very, very harsh quench. Makes, if the metal is hardenable, it will make it very brittle, and set up a motor-driven hammering device, and set up a video camera to try and catch when a chip would fly off. Was able to get that, and was they were going to, some of the Mythbusters were going to show up at a convention nearby, and somebody I was discussing this with worked at the convention, and they said, "Oh, hey, yeah, we can." That's interesting. Oh, whoops. Let me check on this. I had one jump the pin, so I'm not sure that I'm doing the right move. Okay, so yes, this is the right move. So I get that all done. And 3 days before the convention, Mythbusters did a follow-up thing where it changed from might chip and crack and have metal fly into your eye to break and explode. So when they did theirs, actually the first, let me rephrase that. When they did their first thing about it, it was more of a review, you know, where they were talking about an episode. And I don't remember if they actually did a thing where they tried to bust it and then did a follow-up one where they changed it from chip and crack to and little bits of metal fly off to break and explode. But they went ahead through that, and it was like, it was really frustrating that they had changed the rules and essentially kind of stolen the thunder of what I was trying to do, and they reframed it in a way that what I'd done wasn't really applicable to the reframe. And then when I got to the convention, I had a relatively horrible experience there that I'm probably not going to get into. Nothing super bad, just really embarrassing. And since I don't deal with social embarrassment very well, I have not made it to a convention since then, though I am planning to go to one in Virginia in January of next year. Going to, I think it's MarsCon is the name of the convention. But as what has really prompted this trip down memory lane is I was thinking about how when I was trying to make the video for that, I had a hard time just talking, and I had to like restart. And now it's like, okay, I'll just start talking, and if I don't get it right, I'll just go, whoops, that's a mistake, let's correct that, rather than do that. And it's just really interesting how much better I am at dealing with on-the-fly stuff and self-confidence to be able to do this in just about 13 years or so, I think, since that incident happened. So, yep, it's learning and growing. Sorry, give me just a second. Oh, Kristen M96, welcome. I didn't see you come in. give me just a minute. I will finish this iteration and catch up on the chat, see if there's anything I need to answer. Hope I wasn't too rambly there. All right, so let me catch up here. All right, let's see. Wow, you guys have really been chatting. Sorry, let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm back to where I cut up. I mean, it stopped last time. Yeah, about family recipes. I've had to get some from my mom for stuff I had growing up. One of them was that I really was glad that I got was butter fondant, which is not anything at all like cake fondant. It's more like the creamy vanilla center in some of the dipped chocolates. And making a big batch of that is nice, but given how fattening it is, I only do it like maybe once a year at this point. Also picked up the family recipe for hollandaise sauce, which is you can scale it up or down, but at the base level, it is 1/4 pound of butter, 2 egg yolks, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, let's see. I actually do like pumpkin pie, but it's usually because I like the seasoning. I mean, the spices in it and the whipped cream. Okay, still catching up. Thank you. It's, as I understand it, it's supposed to be kind of a tortoise shell pattern, which is what I'm going for. I've done it in like greens and it looks pretty good. It also kind of looks like a Burmese python scale pattern. Understood. Some of the stuff they do is nice. Some of it is just like, okay, a writer was involved with this and they said you need to do this, and it's obviously not all that great. Yep, I like that. Yep. My mom is apparently in that category. Everybody I know who's met her says that she's a really nice person. Um, I mean, telling her no is kind of like kicking puppies, not because she makes you guilty to get her way. It's just she's that nice of a person. You don't want to disappoint her. Um, all right. I think I'm caught up on that. Thank you very much. But anyway, after we got married, my mother-in-law says that I'm so good for my wife that if she ever decides she needs a divorce from me, her mother is going to staple me to her to make sure that she's in a good mood, or that she's happier, which really makes you feel nice when somebody says that to you, even if the visual is kind of odd. Okay, all right, so I know where I'm at. 1, 2, and 3, under 3, over 4. All right, so I'm probably going to stop in about 10 to 15 minutes because that's about the time my wife said she'd have dinner ready. Again, I'm going to stream at least once, probably twice tomorrow if I can. I'm making good progress on this, and I want to get ready to do Rob's braid as soon as I can, or at least get started on it. But to do that, I need to get the warping frame made up and finish programming his braid, or doing the design, and with the program I use for that. And probably do at least one stream on Monday. Don't know if I'm up for 2, but maybe. And I'm going to be working in the garage on this type of stuff. Maybe have a video or 5 up over the weekend as I go through my time lapses I've been doing for 3D printing and upload those. Speaking of which, I need to, I've been having my camera mounted sideways out at the 3D printer so that I can rotate it and have it in the vertical format that you need for a quote-unquote short video on YouTube. But it's a pain in the butt to do that, so I'm considering picking up some video editing software that will let me, like, cut the vertical format out of an existing video, and then I can make shorts much easier that way, and it'd be much easier to do that since YouTube really, really wants you to produce shorts these days. So anyway, that's kind of what my weekend plans are. Also, today's the first day I tried the dose and a half of Provigil, where I take the normal thing in the morning and like half at today. It was about 2 o'clock. I was getting really, really sleepy, and so I took the second half of the dose. Then it took a little while to wake up, but I'm actually kind of alert now, and I know I'm really, really chatty at the moment, which is letting me know it's working. It may be a bit much, but what I'm going to try and do is do that for like 3 or 4 days and try and get as much sleep as I actually can, so that assuming I'm getting the proper amount of sleep, to see if it's too much or not, or if I just need to get more sleep and the single dose will work. But we'll see how it goes. All right. I think my wife is about to tell me that it's time for dinner's just about ready. I haven't muted. I have not muted, so she can hear that she knows it's live. So if she doesn't want to say anything, she doesn't have to. She's heading back down, so not quite dinner time yet, so I got a few more minutes. All right. There we go. Let me do just a quick check and see how much braid we've got. Previous braiding stream, I did about 4.5 inches of braid in about an hour. All right, so that's there. All right, we are at 18 inches of braid already. That's pretty decent speed. I don't think I've got enough for 6 feet. It'll probably be like about maybe 5 feet of finished braid. So if we're at 18 inches after only about 3 or 4 hours, that's pretty good. So this should be definitely a fairly quick braid. All right, 1, 2, 3, under 3, over 4. Actually, my wife and I have it pretty nice. She likes my mom, and I like her mom. It helps that her mom is a machinist, so we get along and can talk shop quite easily. And even though I'm a lot more up to speed on computers and stuff like that, I don't talk down to her, so she likes talking to me about things. Probably don't get over to visit her as often as I should, even though she's only a few miles away. Kathleen, that's very nice. I'm not sure the exact way to phrase that, but yeah, when you have a family member like that, it's nice that you got to know them and nice that they are in your life. Yes, this is nice because I don't have to change around, and it's just the same moves over and over again. So it gets to be pretty much straight muscle memory, and you don't have to think and count and change things around. So it goes much faster. Pickup braids are a fairly slow braiding process. One of the reasons I did so well in IT at my previous job and in general when helping people with computers is I talk to them in plain English. There's no need to use ultra technical jargon, and I'm pretty good at explaining what it is their computer is doing right or wrong, as this is what it's trying to do in a way that makes sense and doesn't require a computer systems knowledge degree to be able to understand it. And a lot of it is just that the language that is used just has kind of in-group jargon for everything. I mean, yeah, there are technical terms, but they're not really easily explained in English if you haven't had experience with it. The other thing that really helped me with IT is I was kind of able to put myself in the head of the way a developer would think of what they wanted to do with the program, and kind of know what it was they were, what and how they wanted to do what they had programmed it to do, and that and a willingness to experiment and wind up with something wrong happening to learn how to do stuff. So, but as long as you got proper backups and you don't actually physically burn out your hardware, you can recover from most things. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave that up for so long. Okay. Yeah, the rambling is actually kind of the stream of consciousness that goes on in my head most of the time. I have a lot of conversational pre-planning. When I was growing up and still in school and whatnot, it was kind of rough for me because when I had like a confrontational situation, I would essentially have multiple versions of the same conversation in my head as I tried to come up with a quote unquote perfect or best way to respond to things. So I'd have it in advance, and I would just kind of get conversational paralysis and not able to say anything because I was too afraid of saying the wrong thing and making it worse. Eventually, once I was, an adult, did have a chance to talk to a therapist for like a couple of years, trying to get the skill set to deal with the world the way I wanted to. I got better at that. Also, recently I've seen online a bunch of people coming across again the idea that some people have no internal monologue, and amusing anecdote for that is I can actually remember when I was a kid. I think it was probably about 4 when my I don't know if my internal monologue turned on, or I just noticed that it was. But I think somebody said that from noise from me and my siblings that it's so noisy I can't hear myself think, and that struck me as like, okay, that's weird. And I thought about it. It's like, wow, I can hear myself think. And I told my mom, I can hear myself think. And she said, yes, dear, we all can, or everybody can do that, or something like that. And it was like, okay, but yeah, I have an internal voice that I, replay, come up with conversations. It's not like the voices talk to me. It's my thinking. It's just I can hear it as a mental voice. So I can pre-phrase things. Like, okay, I want to say this way. Let's see. Let's try that. Okay, that sounds weird, and I don't have to actually say it out loud to kind of get a grasp of what it'll sound like to somebody else. So, though interestingly enough, my wife does not have internal visualizations, which is another thing where, when she closes her eyes and you tell her to think of a chair, nothing pops up. When she closes her eyes to think of something, there's like no visual component to it. And I'm the type of person who, I can close my eyes, picture a 3D object, rotate it, manipulate it, kind of like a CAD program. And it's just interesting the difference between us. We actually get along pretty well. We have similar interests, the type of stuff we like to watch and read. So just interesting to notice the difference between people. All right, let's see. Yeah, I can do it in my head entirely, but yeah. Okay. All right. So it's just about 6:30. So I'm probably going to wrap this up here. I'm at a decent stopping point. Anybody have anything else they'd like to go over before we end the stream? Give it a minute or two. Looks like we have 6 people on concurrently. That's not too bad. We've had better. We've also had a lot worse. Let's see. YouTube chats. Oh, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I updated my user icon and the banner for my YouTube page. I realized that if I'm doing this much braiding and stuff like that, and I'm not actually doing any blacksmithing at the moment, I should probably switch the power hammer out for a braid. Yeah, Bane, I definitely understand that. Some things are best said only internally. Oops. There we go. Yep. It's just interesting the difference between us, even though we, pretty much everything else we understand. It's just the difference. Alrighty. I think that's pretty much everything. Let's see. Okay. All right. So looks like we are good to go. And I will try and set up the next stream at least a couple hours beforehand, but I'm probably going to do it moderately early in the morning so people on in the Pacific Rim, if they want to try to watch, can. And then probably sometime in the evening, maybe a bit later than this one was today. And I should get a fair amount of braiding, or not braiding, shop work done in the meantime. So may everybody have a meditative and respectful weekend, because it kind of feels weird saying Happy Memorial's Day, but stay safe, happy braiding, and we'll see you folks again soon.